Alright guys, welcome back. So last time we were able to create a user, so we can come in here and register a new user. We'll create an account. So in this one we are going to send them an email, an account activation email. Okay, so we are going to start out right here. So these are the Django 3.0 guides about sending an email. So there are multiple ways of doing it, but the easier one is usually this one, where you use the email message class. So I'm going to start out from this template. So I'm going to bring it here. So here in our code, after we save the user, before we actually save him, we want to first deactivate his account so that he can't log in. So we need to do user dot is underscore active equals false. And of course, you can set up another model field and you manage it in another model field, but we'll keep it like this for the simplicity. So right here, now I'm going to bring in this template here. So actually for now, we'll go over it. So we need to first import this class. So this comes from Django. So from Django.core.email.mail, I believe, import email message. So we are going to use this class here. So when you come here, now we are going to go to see how we can get these details. So before we even get there, right now, the first one is the email subject. So we're going to create a variable to contain it. So email subject here. So this is going to be equivalent to, let's say, activate your account. Okay, so now we need to pass it in here. So email subject, not message. Then the body goes here. So now we need to construct the body. So we can now say like email body for now. Then we need to define a from email. So the from email will be basically the email that will indicate as the sender. So usually you can write no reply at semicolon.com. Then you can have where you're sending the email. So this is going to be the recipient who already have their email when they send it in the form. So you can pass it here. Then this people we copy in, it's not really important. Even this is not important, so we are just going to stick with the details that we need. So here, so I'm going to construct an email body, and then for now I'm going to leave it empty. I'm going to leave it empty for now, just so we can test it out. Okay, so once we have this, we need to set up we need to tell Django some more information. So that information, basically we need to hop over to our settings.py file. So here we are going to set up a couple of variables. So let me bring them in here. So one of them is going to be email host, another one is going to be email host user. So this will be the user that authenticates on behalf of our application. Then this is about like transfer security. Then the default from email will be the one that is indicated as the sender of the email. Then of course we need the password. So in this one we are going to be using Gmail to be able to send out the emails. So you notice that most of my values are coming from my environment. Right here you can see we have our database stuff. So I'm going to add these three. So one is going to be the email host password. Of course, I'm not going to show you the password. Then the user will be this email that we use to send. Then the email host will be the Gmail SMTP. Then right here, I want to set up another one for default sender. So if you look in our settings.py, we have default from email. So we need to have that, and also make sure that it is set up. If we look here, now we know we have the subject, we have the body, which is empty, I may actually make it, add something to a test body. Now we need to send out the email by doing email.send. Okay, so you can pass fail silently just to get errors if there are any. So if you want to get errors, you pass false. Okay, so once you do that, now test it out and see if we are able to get an email from our application. So right here, I'm going to go to my other terminal. Then I will stop the server because we need to reload our environment. So I will source in the environment variables. Then we run the server. Now it's running. Now if we come back to our application, which is here, and then let's say we enter like username Christ Truly. I'm going to use the same my email here just so I can get something to test with. Then I'll add a password. So password. Okay, so when you click register, it's going to go ahead and register the user, of course, like we saw. Then it should also be able to send an email, hopefully. Yeah, so it's still trying to process. So now you see we get accounts created successfully. Now I'm going to bring up my email client. Okay, so you can see that we have an email, and the email is simple. It is saying test body. But now that we have this one set up, now let's see how we are going to be able to add like a link for a user to click so that they can access their account. But anyways, you might decide to like send them a code here depending on your use case. Alright guys, so now for us to be able to send a link, I'm going to go to where we stopped. So right here, we basically want to change the contents of the body. Now in the contents of the body, these are the things we are going to need. So one of them is going to be, we're going to need to define a path to the page, to the view that will verify the user. To do that, then we are going to need to get like some few things. One will be getting the domain we are on, and then we are on, and then we are going to, like after this, once we get the domain we are on, then we're going to concatenate there the relative URL to the verification view. So we need to get that one too, relative URL to verification. Relative should be relative URL to verification. So the other thing we are going to need basically will be two things. One is going to be a way that we are going to like identify the user back and forth through the email sending process. So we're going to, for us to be able to do it secure, we could create a user and then send an ID to the email, and then when the user clicks on the email, we pick the ID from the parameters. But that's not quite secure, so we are going to encode the UID so that we can send it across the network and get it, and then we decode it in the application securely. So the next thing we are going to need to do is get the token that the user is going to use to verify yes correctly, and then we are going to make this token in a way that it's going to be used once. Okay, so once we get all those contents, then we can construct our new body. First thing is we are going to need a view to which we are going to verify from. So down here, I'm going to create another class. So class, I'm going to call it verification view. Then it's going to inherit from view, of course. And then I'm going to, for now, I'm going to handle the get request, because that's the one that handles when a user comes from the email. So the browser will automatically like send a get request to that page. So now let's do def get, so self request. So we are going to need to be getting two things from the URL. One is going to be our encoded user ID. So I'm going to call it UID BS4, UID BS64. Okay, so the other one is going to be the token. So this is the token that we'll use to like verify the user, and make sure they don't use it twice or someone else doesn't use it. Once we have this, for now I'm going to just redirect to the login page. So return redirect. So we'll come back to this later. So now let's set up our URL for the view. So right here, I'm going to add a path. So the path here is going to be activate. So the second thing, we have to give it our view. So let's import the verification view. So here we can pass verification view as view. Of course, we need to give it a name, so we can say name equals activate. Yeah, so keep note of this because we are going to use it to create our relative URL. So activate is going to, if you look at our view, the GET request will be expecting us to give it two strings. So one will be the ID, another one will be the token. The ID, of course, will be the encoded one. So right here, we are going to put these two parameters. So this one is going to be UID B64, then it's going to be the token. Okay, so once we have this, now let's come back and create our variables. So one of the first things we're going to do is get the path. I'm going to go up here and actually bring in some imports. So these are the imports we are going to be using. So these ones, they will enable us to create formats that can easily be transferable over a network. Then we're going to need, of course, to encode the UID, like we mentioned. We need a way to encode it and then decode it back. So we get that from HTTP utils. So then we need to construct a domain, so like a path to our web server. So that will be, so you can get that one from the sites framework. So it gives us some handy methods. So import get current site from there. So now right here, now we can construct the domain. So the domain will be get current site. So get current site takes in a request. So you give it a request, and then you do .domain. Okay, so this will give us the domain, something like google.com. Wherever we'll be having the site, if we're on Heroku, it's going to be something like, in testing, it's going to be something like our app.herokuapp.com. So if you ever get a domain name and you configure that, then it's going to be like mycoolapp.com. Okay, so this doesn't come with the protocol, so we might have to add that one ourselves. So now this will give us the domain, but how do we get the link to the relative URL to that file? So right here, I can set up relative. Actually, I'm going to call it like link. So this one, we are going to use a utility called reverse. So what reverse does should be reverse. So reverse takes in a view name. So the view name that we have is called activate. So it takes in a view name. So now we pass activate. Then since we are expecting some arguments here, now we can use we can add quags. Quags equals going to be a dictionary. So now we can specify the values to our item. So one of them is going to be the UID B64. Let me actually copy this. So we give it there, then we need to give it a value. So I'm going to add it here, then we are going to create it later. The second thing is going to be the token. So the token is going to be, so let me create it. Then it's going to be called token. So token. All right, so let's import reverse from Django URLs. From Django URLs import reverse. All right, so now we need to create this here. So for us to create that, we can do it by doing, we're going to create it by getting the user's ID, and then we are going to basically encode it. So right here and say URL encode. So we're going to encode user.pk. So this will encode the PK, but for us to be able to send it through the network, we are going to now force bytes. So we've already imported force bytes. So make sure you wrap it in force bytes. So that should give us the ID that is encrypted, that is encoded. Okay, so the next thing we're going to need to get will be the token. Okay, so for us to be able to get this secure token, we're going to use basically a class that enables us to create these URLs. So I'm going to go in my app, I'm going to create a file called utils.py. So in here, I'm going to import something called the password reset generator. And I know it's called the password reset generator, but we are going to use it to verify our our user. So here, so we are going to need to import it from Django.auth, not setup, from Django.contrib.auth.tokens, import password reset generator. So down here, I'm going to set up a helper class. So I'm going to call it a token helper. Actually, I'm going to call it app token generator. So this is going to inherit from our password reset generator. So let me talk more about this class. So this class is the one that's built into Django for securely managing the user's password reset. So the way it works is it's going to allow a user to reset a password, and then it's going to manage like the intricacies of making sure that the user doesn't use the same link to verify. But when it comes to verification, we actually need to handle it our way. So right here, you're going to need to override one method. So the method is called make hash value. Okay, so make hash value. This is the one. So you see text in a user. This is what, when creating a token, it's run through this method. So right here, basically what we want to do is make sure that we return something in that token that's when used once, we'll be able to say that it's changed. So for us to be able to do that, we need to return a combination of variables that we will look at when we are checking if the user has already used this link. So here, we're gonna pass user.isActive. Then I'm also going to pass user.pk, and then I'm gonna pass the timestamp. So let's pass the timestamp. Alright, so for us to be able to send this in a way that the other systems will understand, we need to do some utilities for us to be able to do that. So here, previously in the previous versions of Django, we would use a utility called text type. So it would come from Django.contrib import. Actually, we would import it from 6, but now 6 has moved. So previously we'll do it like this, then it's called text type, but now 6 has moved and we need to install it separately. So here I'm going to pip-env install 6. So once 6 installs, then we can import text type from 6. So now we can use text type. It's gonna be user is active, then text type here, user pk. Let's use text type here for the timestamp. Alright, so this is going to make sure that everything we are sending is compatible with the systems it's going to be interacting with. So now we need a way to use this class such that when it tries to run a function to check this token, it's going to be able to find that this has changed after the first use. So here we can instantiate our class, so app token generator, then we give it, so we need to instantiate our class. So now in our views right here, let's import it. So from utils, not from, so from utils import token generator. So down right here, now for us to be able to generate the token, we can use token generator, then we call make token. So make token takes in the user. So at this point we already have a user, so we can make the user. Okay, so once we have this, we will have the token, we have the ID. So now we need to see how to construct our body, our final body. Alright, so here we have email body equals this, but what I want to do now is start concatenating in these values. So now we can say hi there. Actually, now we can even use the user's username. So I can concatenate hi user dot username. We have a space here. Then now we can say something like, please use this link to verify your account. Okay, so now we need to put a way to put the link. So to put the link, I'm going to add a new line. So on a new line, now I'm going to have to concatenate there this link. So here, let me create another variable. So this is going to be activate URL. It should start with A, of course. So activate URL. So this is going to be the protocol. So right now the app is running on HTTP. So now we can concatenate there our link. So now this means it's going to come. It's going to come, and then actually we are concatenating the domain and then the link. So let's concatenate there the domain, then the link. All right, so right here, now we have the activate link constructed. So let's also pass it here. Okay, so now our email body is quite coming to shape. So let's go ahead and test it out and see what we have. Run the server, come back to the app. So I'm going to use the same email, although right now it's in use. So let me first come in here and delete the user. So we can do from django.contrib.auth.users.auth.models import user. So here you can actually do user.objects.all. I'm going to delete all of them, so delete. Okay, so that deletes the one we have. So that deletes our user. Let me run back the server. So I can do, let me quit here. Let me run the server. Okay, so once we come back, reload, can use the same credentials. Okay, so you see we have an issue. So it's telling us that byte-like object is not in. Alright, so it looks like we made a mistake here. So we need to actually return the result from the encode function. So the first byte should be here. So force underscore bytes. Okay, so that's it. So let's try again. Let's use this. Let's use the, oh, so the account got created. Sorry. Let me check again. From Django, contrib, auth, models, import user. So user objects.all, delete. Okay, so our user is gone. So let me quit here. Run the server. Okay, so let me reload. Okay, password, click send, and now you can see that it is taking some time. You might notice that it takes some time to send an email. I'm going to show you a better way to do it in one of the videos, so it can be quicker for the user. So now if I check my email, let me reload here. Where is the refresh? Let me reload it. We can see that we have a new email just came in, and now you see it links to a view in the application. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here. If you enjoyed the video, if you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing to the channel, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you guys in the next one.